Every neighborhood has that one house, the one nobody talks about directly, but everyone knows better than to go near. But in the town of West Haven, that house wasn't abandoned, and it wasn't dangerous in the way people assumed. It was the one that gave out Christmas gifts. Only at midnight, the story centers on a high school senior named Levi. He wasn't the kind of kid who went looking for danger. If anything, he tried to blend in. But on Christmas Eve last year, Levi made a decision that he'd spend every night regretting. It started earlier that evening during a family dinner, when Levi's little cousin mentioned something strange she'd seen on her walk home from school. A small wooden box sitting on the front step of a house at the end of Harlow Street. The old Whitley property. She said the box had her name on it. Everyone brushed it off, probably some holiday prank. But Levi noticed the way her voice shook when she said she didn't open it. She said she felt like she was being watched. Levi didn't believe in supernatural stories, but curiosity can sometimes feel like a hand on the back of your neck, gently pushing you somewhere you don't want to go. By 11:45 p.m., he had decided to see the house for himself. He told himself it was just to grab a picture, maybe prove to his cousin there was nothing weird going on. He walked down Harlow Street in the freezing dark, the kind where your breath feels like smoke drifting off your lips. Every house had lights glowing from inside, except for the Whitley house. Its windows were pitch black, the kind of black that makes you think they're not just unlit, they're watching. When Levi checked his phone, it was 11:59, a single minute before midnight. The yard was dead quiet. No wind, no crunch of snow under branches. It didn't even feel like the same winter air he'd been breathing a minute earlier. Levi stepped toward the porch, and the first thing he noticed was that there was a box waiting on the top step. But this one didn't have his name. It had none at all, just a tag hanging from twine that said, "For whoever needs it." Levi felt a sudden pressure on his chest, like his instincts were trying to put up a barricade. But curiosity won. He picked up the box. It was surprisingly heavy, wrapped in old-fashioned paper that felt stiff, like it had been sitting somewhere cold for a long time. The bow on top looked handmade. But the strangest part was how warm the box felt in his hands, like someone had been holding it just moments before. Then behind him, something on the porch creaked. Levi froze. He turned slowly, expecting to see someone watching from the doorway. Instead, the front door of the house, this house that had been locked and abandoned for decades, was open just an inch, just enough for a sliver of darkness to seep out. Levi swallowed hard, placed the box back where he found it, and stepped away. But the second his foot touched the bottom step, the porch light flickered on. Someone whispered, not loud, but close enough that Levi could feel it at the base of his skull. "Take it." Levi whipped around. No one was there. The porch was empty. The doorway was still cracked open, but the voice wasn't in his imagination. He knew that much. He grabbed the box and ran. By the time he reached the corner of Harlow Street, he didn't dare look back. He didn't want to see what he already sensed. That someone was standing in the doorway, watching him sprint away with their gift. The box didn't get any lighter. In fact, Levi swore it felt heavier. He shoved it into his backpack and hurried home, lungs burning in the cold. By the time he slipped inside the house, everyone else was already asleep. He set the box on his desk and paced around, trying to shake off the feeling of being followed. But the box just sat there, completely still. Levi sat down, reached for the lid, and lifted it open. Inside was a small wooden soldier, hand-carved, detailed enough to look like a miniature human figure. But something was off. The face wasn't painted. Instead, it was carved with shocking precision. Its eyes were tiny wood indentations, but they looked alive. And the worst part, the figure was in the exact posture Levi had been in minutes earlier, mid-sprint. He slammed the lid shut. He tried to sleep, but every time he drifted off, he woke up to a faint tapping from the desk chair. Tiny, rhythmic taps, like something shifting inside the box. He eventually passed out from exhaustion around 5 a.m. When he woke up, the box wasn't on his desk anymore. It was on his bedroom floor. Open. The wooden soldier was standing upright, leaning against his closet door, with one arm pointed toward him. Levi's scream woke the entire house. His parents rushed in, and when they saw the figure, they thought he was playing some kind of prank. They tried to take it from him, but he refused to touch it. And when his mother picked it up, she made a face and said it felt strangely warm. They threw the soldier away, but it didn't matter, because that night, at exactly midnight, something scratched at Levi's window. He didn't check at first. He lay frozen in bed. But the scratching didn't stop. It grew louder and more frantic, like fingernails on glass. When he finally worked up the courage to lift the curtain, the box was sitting on the windowsill outside, and behind it, standing on the lawn, completely still, was a tall figure with empty, carved-out eyes. Not wooden, not human, something in between. Levi backed away from the window. The thing outside didn't move. It didn't need to. Something about its posture said it was waiting. The same way someone waits for a dog to come home. Then his phone buzzed. A notification. A photo sent from an unknown number. It was a picture of Levi sleeping, taken from inside his room. And at the bottom, you opened the gift. Now we finish the exchange. Levi didn't sleep again. He spent the next day begging his parents to let them leave town. They thought he was having some kind of breakdown. They promised to stay with him that night, just to prove nothing was wrong. But at midnight, the front door unlocked by itself. His parents blamed the wind, but Levi knew better. He begged them not to answer it. When the door creaked open. Snow blew inside the hallway. And on the front step was the same box, now cracked open, with the wooden soldier sitting upright inside it. What happened in the minutes after is still unclear. Police reports don't explain it. Witness statements don't make sense. But when Levi's parents turned around to check on him, he was gone. Not taken, just gone, like he'd stepped outside into the cold. The only clue left behind was the wooden soldier. It had changed, not in shape, but in posture. Now it stood perfectly still with its arms at its sides, calm, at rest, like whatever it had been chasing, it finally caught. Neighbors claimed they saw a boy walking down Harlow Street around 12:05 a.m. But the streetlights were too dim to see his face clearly. They said his movements were stiff, puppet-like, and that he was holding something in his hand. A small wooden box. The Whitley house still gives out gifts every Christmas Eve, always at midnight. And lately, the box doesn't sit on the porch very long, because it's being delivered by a boy who doesn't blink, doesn't speak, and walks like he's being pulled by invisible strings. If you ever see him, don't take the gift, because once you open it, something opens